Hello guys, Robot1 here, coming to you with a new Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today I'm showing you something a little different. Today I'm showing you my Witchcrafter deck profile. Now, I know Witchcrafter's a meta, I know they're not the best deck in the game, I know they're not the most powerful deck in the game, but hell, I like them, I've been testing them, I've shown you guys some duel videos with them on the channel, and I just wanted to show you guys my deck profile because, well, I'm really enjoying the deck. I know it's not the best, as I said, but I really do love Witchcrafters, and it's just one of those fun decks that you can play, have a lot of fun with, play a bit of a control style in, and just enjoy yourself. So I just wanted to show you guys my Witchcrafter deck profile today. So that's what we're going to be doing. You're going to be seeing me showing you this. So let's go ahead and get into it so you guys can see how Witchcrafters should be played, if you like Witchcrafters, of course. So let's go ahead and get into it. So starting off, for the Witchcrafter monsters that will special summon from the deck, we play 2 Ginny. Ginny is very strong in this deck, but you only need to play 2. And the reason why we're playing 2 of it is, 1, for its obvious effect, we can discard a spell card and tribute it to special summon any Witchcrafter monster from your deck, but we play 2 of it for its second effect. So its second effect is you can go ahead and banish this card and another Witchcrafter spell from your graveyard to go ahead and activate that Witchcrafter spell's effect. So Ginny essentially allows you to use your Witchcrafter spell cards in the graveyard a second time. So if you wanted to use something like Creation to get a second search, or you wanted to use an Unveiling in your graveyard to go ahead and special summon another monster, this card essentially allows you to do that, getting more monsters out of your hand, getting more cards to your hand, using spells that you couldn't use again that turn, or using spells that you had to discard to actually trigger your Witchcrafter's effects to special summon more Witchcrafters from the deck. So Ginny is just a free additional use of a spell card in the Witchcrafter strategy, and she's really strong. But you do have to be careful with how you use Ginny, because some cards you don't want to banish and some you do. So when you're using Ginny, make sure it's actually very vital to banish that spell card to win the game. Otherwise, she's not going to be the best use in that situation. But we play 2 Ginny. Next, we play 1 Pottery. The reason we play 1 of her is because, well, if you've got no cards in your hand, you can just go ahead and banish her from the graveyard to go ahead and add 1 Witchcrafter's card from your graveyard to your hand. She's pretty much just that. She doesn't really do anything else. She's pretty much for that situation where, okay, draw for turn. Oh, I drew a trap. I can't use this trap. Well, I'm going to use this card effect, banish from the graveyard, add probably the Monster Reborn Witchcrafter spell from the graveyard, revive a Witchcrafter, something like Veer, and go from there. That's what Pottery is there for, and she's not there for any other reason. But you want to play 1 of her because of that. We also play 2 Witchcrafter Pittori. She's actually one of the better Witchcrafter monsters that you want to be normal summoning, for the fact that this card, while it's in the graveyard, you can go ahead and banish it and draw a card. Now, that's probably not the best, but in this deck has one big issue: drawing your big monsters. And what does she also do? Well, she doesn't just draw you a card, but she sends 1 Witchcrafter card to the graveyard when you use this effect. So you draw a card, you discard a Witchcrafter card, and then you get the bad Witchcrafter card out of your hand, and if it's like a spell card or something that you can add back during the end phase, well, Pottery is just giving you a free +1 then. So Pottery is a very good card in this deck. Obviously, she has the same effect where you can discard a spell card, then tribute her special summon 1 from the deck, but she is really strong. But be careful when you do use this effect, because she does banish your entire hand if you do not have a Witchcrafter card to, well, send to the graveyard via this effect. So it's kind of like an Allure of Darkness situation where you draw, you don't have any darks, oh well, now I lose my entire hand. So if you're going to use Potteri's effect while she's in the graveyard, be very careful when you use it, because if you use it at the wrong time, or you don't have anything to send, you're going to be in a very bad situation. Next, we play 3 Witchcrafter Schmitta. I call her Schmitta. The reason why we're playing 3 Schmitta is because, well, what Schmitta is a very strong card in this deck, and she is pretty much the best normal summon in your entire deck. What she does is the same as any other Witchcrafter. You can discard a spell card and then special summon 1 from the deck by tributing her. But why she's the best one in your entire deck is because while she's in the graveyard, you can banish this from the graveyard and send any Witchcrafter spell or Witchcrafter card from your deck to the graveyard. So you literally just get to send a Witchcrafter card to your graveyard. You get to send any of your spell cards that you can recycle during the end phase. You get to send any of your monsters to go ahead and trigger their effects, something like Pittori to go ahead and use her effect to go ahead and draw 1 and send 1. You can go ahead and send Ginny, so you can go ahead and use one of your Witchcrafters engraved. She sends anything from your main deck to the graveyard, giving you so much more resources and so much more advantage. So she is literally the best Witchcrafter normal summon in the entire deck. You have to play her at 3. You shouldn't play her at less than turn 3, so just make sure you're always playing 3 Schmittier. So yeah, best one in general. Now for the big monsters to play, the big Witchcrafters, we play 1 Witchcrafter Hain. We play one of her because pretty much she stops your opponent from being able to target any of your Witchcrafter monsters other than herself, of course, because all other spellcaster monsters cannot be targeted. And also, you can discard 1 spell card to target 1 face-up card your opponent controls to destroy it, which is a quick effect. So very, very strong effect there. And Hain is just a very, very strong spellcaster monster in this deck, for the fact that she's just free removal because you're constantly recycling your spell cards as well, because every time you discard the spell during the end phase, you're just going to add it back to your hand to have all those resources again. So Hain is very good. You only play 1 of her though, and you only really play 1 of the big ones, because, well, if you're playing more, it's just going to brick you, and you don't really want to draw more for that reason. So you only need to play 1 Hain. You shouldn't be playing more of it. And if she does end up in the graveyard, you can just use Witchcrafter Holiday, which will, well, summon her back from the graveyard. So you've got ways to recycle her as well. Next, we only play 1 Witchcrafter Golem Aurora. And the reason why we play Aurora is because, well, she is a hand trap in the deck. What she basically does is when your opponent activates an effect that targets a spellcaster monster, or when your opponent declares an attack on a spellcaster monster, quick effect, you can target 1 card your opponent controls or 1 Witchcrafter spell in your graveyard, and either add the spell card back to your hand or return the opponent's card to the hand, and also special summon this card as well. So pretty much what this card does is it's a free special summon, so it's a free 2/8 beat stick. It gives you restackability for any of your spell cards you might have discarded that turn. It also becomes a big beat stick that can get rid of opponent's monsters. So say your opponent attacks your Schmitter and you haven't got a spell card to discard, well, you can special summon this from the hand, return a spell card from your graveyard to your hand, and then if they don't kill the Schmitter, you got that. Or you could just return the opponent's monster to the hand, getting rid of a potential big beat stick. So this is just a very, very good card in general, and it's a one-of in the deck because she does have the effect that during your opponent's standby phase, she returns to your hand. So basically, if your opponent attacks, you've got it again for next turn, or if your opponent tries to target one of your monsters when it's gone back to your hand, well, you can just special summon it and return a spell card to your hand. So she's basically just recyclability while also being a hand trap that gets rid of opponent's monsters and being a big beat stick that allows us to attack over our opponent's cards too. So Aurora is just a very, very strong card. But then the last monsters we actually play in the deck is 2 Witchcrafter Madame Veer. We only play 2 Veer. Now, Veer is a very, very hard one to say what ratio you should play out. Now, I choose to play her at 2 because, 1, I feel like she's a card that you really do have to have in your main deck. If you draw one, it sucks and you can't do anything because she is your big boss monster in the deck that literally just says, oh, yeah, I discard a spell card and negate all monsters you control. Oh, you're going to attack one of my spellcaster monsters? Well, I'm going to reveal every spell card in my hand with a different name and boost them by 1,000 life points, well, attack points and defense points. So Madame Veer is literally just a card that says, oh, you attacked me? Well, now I'm going to boost all my stuff. Or, oh, you're using an effect while you have all these other monsters on the board? Well, I'm just going to negate your entire board. So you have to play her at 2 because of that reason. Because if she's in your hand, well, you can't use any of the Witchcrafter effects to summon her from the deck because they can't special summon from the hand. So you need to be playing her at 2 because you do not want to see her in your opening hand. And also, if she does end up in your opening hand, you'll always have the second one in the main deck to be able to use again. Like, that's also kind of one of the reasons why we do play 2 Pittori, because every time I see one of this card in my hand, I just want to discard it because it kind of makes things harder at times for me to actually play the game, and I'd rather just get it in the graveyard and potentially summon it back with Holiday. So 2 Madame Veer. Those are all the monster cards we play, though. We don't play any monster hand traps because, well, you kind of want to focus mainly on the monsters in the deck and the trap aspect of the deck because you want to be able to just control the game through the monsters in general and just make sure you can have every resource possible in the deck. So the deck is kind of tight, and I have tried to kind of build it more on a control fashion, but I feel like this is just a better variation of the deck. Like, you could potentially put, like, Ash Blossom and stuff in it, but I just prefer this because I feel like this is just a lot better. So going into the spell cards that are in the deck, we play 3 Witchcrafter Creation. Creation is pretty much the rotor of the deck, and every Witchcrafter spell also has an effect that says, well, during the end phase, if you control a Witchcrafter monster, you can return the Witchcrafter spell to your hand. But Creation is your reinforcements of the army in the deck, and also just to add an additional note, if you have used the effect of a Witchcrafter spell that turn, you cannot use the effect to add it back to your hand during the end phase, because the effect to add during the end phase is only during the turn you haven't used its actual effect, because you can only use one effect of the Witchcrafter spells per turn. But pretty much what this card does is you get to go ahead and add any Witchcrafter monster from your deck to your hand, and it's just reinforcements of the army, allowing you to get to your Schmitter, allowing you to get to your Jenny, and allowing you to get to any Witchcraft monsters, like even your Aura and Golem. So really, really good. We also play 2 Holiday. We play 2 of the Revive spell. This is just Monster Reborn for the deck and nothing more. You want to play it at 2 because, well, this is one of the ones that you kind of want to see, because if you ever get to a point where you need to revive your Veer or you need to revive your Hane, and you kind of have only one in your hand, or you haven't been able to recycle one, well, you could just draw it, or you could just go ahead and add it via Aurum Golem. So you want to be able to play 2, just for the consistency factor to get it to your hand. Like, having the ways to reborn your big monsters is really important, and when you go into like Link plays and Xyz plays, this being able to summon the Veer back is just really, really good. So you want to be playing 2 Holiday, at least in my opinion. And then the rest of the Witchcrafter spells we only really play 1 of, which is 1 Draping. This is pretty much return spell and trap cards your opponent controls to the hand up to the number of Witchcrafter monsters you control. So you just get to go ahead and get rid of as many spell and trap cards your opponent controls as possible, and also have the effect to add it back to your hand if you haven't used that effect. So really good. I was mainly playing Collaboration originally because of, obviously it allows you to attack twice and your opponent can't chain anything, but I found that playing Draping was just better for the fact that, well, it's a spell and trap removal, and I'd rather get rid of my opponent's spell and traps just that could potentially stop me from like using my Witchcrafter effects to allow me to play the game. So 1 Draping I feel like is better. 1 Unveiling. As I said, we do not like getting any Witchcrafter monsters in our hand, especially when we draw Veer in our opening hand. So we play 1 Unveiling, because what Unveiling does is it allows you to special summon 1 Witchcrafter monster from your hand, and if you do, your opponent can activate cards or effects in response to the activation of spellcaster monster effects. So this pretty much just says, oh, I get a free special summon from my hand, get the dead draw Veer out of my hand, get these stuff that I don't want in my hand, and then in a couple of turns add it back to hand, and then just have recyclability to discard to use my Witchcrafter effects. And if you do ever draw like Hane or something in your opening hand, this is the card that you're going to send to the graveyard with Schmitter, because you really just want to get those cards out of your hand, and this is the card that allows you to do that. So Unveiling, get that stuff out of my hand as quickly as possible. And then the last Witchcrafter spell card we play is 1 Witchcrafter By Street, and this card is one of the main ones that you're going to be sending with Schmitter to, for the fact that the first time every Witchcrafter monster would be destroyed, it is not. So if you summon a Witchcrafter monster, your opponent activates Raigeki, and then you use that Witchcrafter monster's effect to summon another one from the deck, both of them will have 1 protection each. And also, this is slightly different than every other Witchcrafter spell, for the fact that this is a spell card that is a continuous spell, and instead of going to the hand, it will be placed into your spell and trap card zone during the end phase if your opponent has, well, got the if you haven't used that effect that turn, its effect that turn. So that's also really good. And just the last part of its effect as well, before I go any further, which is the effect that you would use to not be able to actually, you know, put it back on the board, is if a Witchcrafter monster's effect you control would be activated to discard a spell card, you can actually send this to the graveyard instead for that effect. So if you do use that, you won't be able to place it in your spell and trap card zone for that turn. But this card is just really good, being protection, being a discard one in the spell and trap card zone, and obviously just being able to recycle itself is really, really strong. So 1 By Street, you have to play it at 1. I wouldn't play less. I would not cut this from the deck at all, because it's just really good, giving you protection for all your Witchcrafter monsters. For other spells though, we do play 3 Pot of Extravagance. Extravagance is just a really good card in the fact that it says draw 2, you want to draw 2 at times, and your extra deck really isn't that important most of the time. So 3 Extravagance, draw 2, really good, gets me more spells to my hand, gets me more Witchcrafters to my hand that I can actually potentially summon, and just gets me through my deck, allowing me to get to more of my back row cards and stuff that will allow me to control the game. 2 Secret Village of the Spellcasters. Most Spellcaster decks aren't going to play around this. If your opponent is playing Invoked and you go ahead and have Secret Village up with Hane, you discard a spell, you look at your opponent, you kill the Alistair, they're no longer able to activate the Invocation, or if they don't have the Alistair in hand, they can't activate the Magical Meltdown in hand. Card is very, very strong, and Secret Village just says no spell cards for anyone but me, so no reason not to play Secret Village in the deck. 1 Reasoning, you call the number, you call it wrong, I get someone from the deck. We're playing so many different levels in this deck that Reasoning is just absolutely insane. We play level 1, we play level 2, we play level 3, 4, 7, 8, 8. Like, we play so many different levels in the deck that Reasoning is just an insane card. It's a free summon. It literally gets any of our Witchcrafter spell cards to the graveyard if we don't reveal any monsters until we get them there. It's just a really good card, guys. Like, Reasoning is absolutely insane, and it's definitely a staple in this deck. If it was up free, I'll play it up free. Honestly, the card is nuts. And then the last spell card we play is one Monster Reborn, because, well, yes, we have Holiday, that's a recyclable card, but Monster Reborn is just inherently better for the fact that it can summon from my graveyard and my opponent's graveyard, so just really good there too. Those are all the spell cards, though. Obviously, we are playing quite a heavy spell lineup because, well, we need that heavy spell lineup to allow us to discard spells to be able to summon more Witchcrafts from our deck, so it's very important that we do play a decent number of spells. But for traps, we play 3 Infinite Impermanence. It's just the only hand trap that you play. It's Effect Veiler. It's just a decent card, and I felt like I had to play it because 1, it negates columns, 2, it's just a hand trap that can't trigger off tactical talents, and I just felt like it was a card that was kind of necessary. So we play 3 of that. 3 Torrential Tribute. This card is absolutely insane because we play Buy Street. So if we have Veer on board and we have Buy Street in our spell and trap card zone and we have TT, well, my Veer stays alive. I still have the board negate, and I have a board wipe to just say no to my opponent's entire board. So just very good card in Witchcrafter, in my opinion, if you have Buy Street. So we want to play this at 3. Next, we play 3 Summon Limit. We don't summon more than 2 times most of the time, so 3 Summon Limit is very strong, and you should definitely be playing it in the Witchcrafter deck if you are playing Witchcrafters. And then finally, 3 Solemn Strike. Strike is just a really good trap card right now, and is a card that you should definitely be playing in your trap decks if you have the space. Because it just says no to so many different things, this format. It says no to Alistair. It says no to pretty much any inherent summon. It says no to every monster effect. It says no to so many different things that Strike is just really good this format. It's like not even a joke. But going into the extra deck now, as I said a minute ago, the extra deck isn't very important, but we are playing cards that could potentially help us and be really decent. So the cards that we're playing in the extra deck is 1 Almirage. It's just a link monster that we can summon by using our little Poteria here. So we play the Almirage for that. We play 1 Anima, obviously, because we can go ahead and summon it into a link zone, the extra monster zone. And if our opponent has a monster there, we can just go ahead and steal it by using the Jenny. 2 Link Karibo. Card is just really decent. Tribute Jenny, special summon it, just have negate attacks. It's really decent. Like, I just wanted to play 2, so if we do banish one, we have the second one as well. 1 IP Masquerena. You're never going to use it, but it's there because we can have a little cheeky play where if we do end up getting multiple Witchcraft monsters on the board, we can go ahead and summon the IP and have a link play for our opponent's turn. 1 Nightmare Phoenix, back row removal. 1 Nightmare Unicorn, any type of removal. 1 Blackluster Soldier of Chaos. Veer is a level 8. This needs 1 level 8 to not be targeted, so play 1 of it, make it bigger, be good. 1 Underworld Goddess, because, well, it's a little cheeky link play during our opponent's turn with the IP Masquerena, and it's just a really good card overall, being a board negate just like Veer, and also being something that can negate your opponent for something from the graveyard is really, really strong. So 1 Underworld Goddess. 1 Abyss Dweller. You're never going to summon it, but if you do somehow get 2 Schmitter on the board, it can be made and stop your opponent from summoning from the graveyard. 1 Dingirsu, because it says protect all my stuff from being destroyed, and also sends cards to the graveyard. 1 Dragubium, because this card says we can summon either a 38 or a 100 to go for game, and honestly, if we do ever get to that point where we can just attack the game with number 100, that's pretty good. And lastly, 1 Divine Arsenal Zeus, because, well, if we do end up making like Dingirsu or something and we can go ahead and attack, then we can just make a free material Zeus and just have a board wipe for our opponent's turn. But guys, that is the entire deck though. Like, honestly, I've been working on this, I've been trying it, and I really do like Witchcrafters. They're just a really fun deck. They're nothing really super competitive. They're nothing really, oh, I'm going to win a regional or something like this. But they're definitely something you can take to locals, have some fun with, play your mates, and just a great time in general. So, guys, that's the video, though. Tell me what your thoughts are on the Witchcrafter deck in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions, because Witchcrafter, they're just a fun deck. They're a really cool deck, and I really do enjoy playing them, just because they're just a lot of banter and really enjoyable to play. But, guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Discord link, the Instagram link where I'm posting stuff and everything in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Roll that one, signing out. Later all.